In this tutorial, we're going to be looking at the two best stretches for lower back pain and the two best exercises for lower back pain. And we're going to be asking, do they work? Now, if you want to take part in a free 14-day micro workout that includes these two stretches and two exercises, just click in the link below, go through to the page, enter your details, get the download, it will come through to you, and then you can start. All the guidelines are in there for when to do it, how much to do it, you know, how much time you do on the stretches, how many reps for the exercise, all that's there. All the teaching points for the exercises are there. What we're going to go through today is how you can make them work the best for you. How you're going to get the most from these is, first of all, understanding a little bit about your lower back pain. So number one is how intense is the pain? So a scale of 1 to 10 is it's a subjective way of doing it, but it's a nice little gauge. Obviously 10 is excruciating pain, 1 or 0 is no pain. So you would pick somewhere on that scale. What you would then do is perform the 14-day micro workout and then reassess, okay, is my pain more, the same, or is it lower? So that would be the first thing to work on. The second thing is the frequency of pain. And what the frequency means is how regularly do you get it? Do you get it every day? Do you get it doing a certain task? Do you get it multiple times per day? So it sort of starts in the morning, then it goes, and then in the evening it comes back. So first of all, it would be to understand that, because then again, what you can do once you've completed the 14-day micro workout is you can go through and you can log when it's happening. If it was, for argument's sake, let's say you were getting it once a day in the afternoon. You go through the 14-day micro workout, and what you find is that it goes down to, say, 5 days a week, or you start to find that it just starts happening later in the afternoon. So you're offsetting some of the pain that you're experiencing. So those would be sort of, let's just say, evidence of the two stretches and the two exercises working. So we've got the intensity of the pain and we've got the frequency of the pain. So that's a nice, easy place to start to find out if these stretches and exercises are working. And what we'll do now is I'll give you a quick introduction into what they are. Stretch number one is for the adductors, so it's down the inside of the leg. How we perform the stretch, again, as I mentioned, all the teaching points are in the free download, so I'm not going to go into a huge amount of depth in that, and I'm not really going to talk about how we perform it within the workout. So all we would basically do is come down onto all fours, and we would put a leg out to the side. Now this stretch, you should be feeling it down the inside of the leg, so if we want a little bit more, we just take this foot away from this knee a little bit more, and then we start to get a little bit more stretch in the adductors. Also, we want to keep the leg nice and straight, so we keep the knee nice and straight. That will just enhance the stretch as well, and then we just hold this position, complete the time, and then obviously we would swap sides. Now, with regards to the adductors being associated with lower back pain, what we find is when people, or commonly what we find, I should say, is the tightness through the hips with people with lower back pain. So if we can start to loosen off the muscles of the hip, the adductors being one of them, then it's going to be helping your lower back pain. So it's going to start progressing it and reducing the pressure. So as I mentioned, what we would then do is we would then come on to the other side, again, stretching through. Another thing to notice is one side tighter than the other side, because what then that might allow you to do is just hold a little bit longer on the tighter side, or just be mindful of where you maybe experience the pain. Is it more to the left or more to the right? And then is my left side tighter than my right side, for example? So it's starting to look at things like that. So stretch number one is for the adductors. Stretch number two is for the psoas muscle. Now this muscle, again, it's coming up. It's, in some respects, if you look at the fascial line, the adductors and the psoas are connected, let's say. So what we're essentially doing is we are stretching that whole fascial line, or that part of the fascial line. So we're starting to ease the pressure through the pelvis from the knee all the way up to the thoracic spine. So we're starting to release the tension in that area, which is why I put these two together, because they are essentially working on the same system. So how we perform the psoas stretch is very simple. We come down onto one knee, we get our hip into a very mild extension. If you want to keep it hip above the knee, then that's absolutely fine. What we would then do, or what you can do from here, you may be feeling the stretch enough now, but you can then just lift the arm up over the head, and then that will start to enhance the stretch a bit further up into the abdomen, which is then starting to get the psoas muscle. And as I mentioned, it goes from sort of the inside of the thigh here, goes through the pelvis, attaches onto each lumbar vertebra and T12. So what's basically happening, if I come down onto my other knee, is when we lift the arm up, we start to extend the thoracic spine. So we really get the top portion of the muscle, which is then going to be enhancing the stretch just that little bit more. So with regards to these stretches, number one, you want to be finding the stretch. So the two areas of the stretch you want is down the inside of the leg for the adductors, and then sort of the front of the pelvis, and potentially up into the abdomen for the psoas. Exercise number one is the bird dog. So this is where we're down on all fours, and this is where we come into this position. So again, this exercise, in some respects, it's doing two things. There is a abdominal brace that's happening, so you're getting a stabilizing effect through the spine, but you're also getting a stabilizing effect through the hips and the shoulders as well when the arm and the leg come up. Now, the only thing that I'll mention to watch in this video, obviously, as I've mentioned, all the teaching points, what could go wrong, so potential mistakes, that's all in the download. So you can, again, if you just read through it thoroughly, you'll pick all that up. But the main thing is to maintain this neutral posture through the lumbar spine. So what we don't want to do is that, essentially, is what I'm saying. So we want to keep hips level. So as we lift, you should see my lumbar spine doesn't move. So all the movement is coming from my hip and it's coming from my shoulder. So that's what we want from the exercise. Then we just want to keep hips and shoulders level. That will show that we're getting it correct. Again, just manage the position of the hands. Again, all of that's in the download, so you can just pick all that up when you're there. Now, what this exercise is doing is if you look at the spine, you've got muscles going up both sides of it. Now, if you're doing a back extension, both of those muscles would fire at the same time, and that creates a lot of compression around the spine. So imagine the spine as a sponge. The muscles are my hands. All I'm doing is I'm crushing the spine like that. When we do the bird dog and you lift arm and a leg, it goes from one side. When you lift the other leg, it goes to the other side. So essentially the compression around the spine is halved. So it minimizes the stress on the spine, but maximizes or optimizes the activation of the muscle. So it keeps the muscles of the lower back and the mid back functioning correctly, which helps stabilize left and then right. So that is the importance of the bird dog, and it's why I choose it for so many people when they get to the stage of exercise for lower back pain. Exercise number 2 is the side plank. Now, this exercise, you've possibly done it many times before. Again, all the teaching points are in the download. I'll go through a few here, a few of the major ones. You've got a couple of options. Basically, you would have a full side plank, which looks like so. So I'm up on my feet, or you've got a half where you're up, on your knees this time. So those are basically the two options that you've got. Now, what you want to be doing is maintaining the straight lines, as I call them. So the straight lines are in this position. So we've got a straight line going up through here, shoulder to shoulder. So my shoulders are stacked, hips are stacked. I'm in a nice straight line. And then down through here. So I'm not up and I'm not down. So those are the main things to be focusing on with those, and just the intensity of it with regards to being on the knees and being on the feet. So it's being able to get that right. Now, why is this exercise so important for lower back pain? Well, most people, if not all people, will have an imbalance from left to right. That's whether they've got lower back pain or not. People will just have a more dominant side. So what we need to be able to do is not necessarily completely even those sides up, but bring them closer together, because if we've got muscle imbalance, we are at greater risk of injury to a certain area of the body. So if we've got imbalance from right to left in the core, again, that is going to be leaving us at greater risk of injury to the lower back. So what we want to be doing is being able to manage this exercise. And again, a bit like the bird dog, because we're only doing one side at a time, it's not putting as much strain on the body or on the lower back. You may just have to work on shoulder strength to be able to hold it for a period of time, but that in some respects is what the kneeling one is for as well. So you've got those options. Those are the reasons why they are included. So it's just now down to you guys clicking the link in the description, going through, entering your details, downloading the free download. Again, read through it. Make sure you get all the teaching points. Make sure you get all the common mistakes so you don't make them. And what you can then start doing is then read through the guidelines. So when should you be doing them? How often? How long you should be doing them for? So on and so forth. With regards to how long, that will be in some ways dictated by you with regards to your sort of fitness level or the level that you are entering into the program. So that will be dictated by that. But essentially, it's about then, once you get to the end of the 14 days, reviewing and seeing how your pain has improved. So to quickly summarize, the two stretches are for the adductors and for the psoas, because we're going right through essentially the inside of the body from the knee all the way up to the thoracic spine. So we're just releasing that tension, because if they become tight, all of it gets compressed. If we can start to loosen them, it then gets, in a sense, decompressed. So we've got adductor stretch, psoas stretch. Then we come on to the two exercises. We've got the bird dog and we've got the side plank. The bird dog is helping with core stability, spine stability, hip and shoulder stability, and there's an element of bracing on there as well. It's also minimizing the stress on the spine because of the compression around the spine is dispersed from one side and then to the other. Exercise 2 is the side plank. This is a little bit more focused on core strength because we're holding a position for a period of time, or core endurance, I should say. And then it's working from left to right, so it's evening up any potential muscle imbalances, the same as the bird dog will do, because it's working from one side to the other. So hopefully this has been helpful. All you now need to go and do is understand your lower back pain a little bit with regards to the intensity of the pain and the frequency of it. Go through the 14-day program and then review how intense is it now and how frequent is my pain. So hopefully this has been helpful. Hopefully it's given you a better idea of how you can start on your journey to overcoming lower back pain. Please do go through, download the workout, and I will see you on the other side.